Welcome everyone to the Literary Arts Hour of the Up Convergence. We are in the Co-Creators Convergence Zoom room, and this is Words as Medicine for the World. Today, we have first up Spirit Spot on the topic of oneness, and then a song by Rick Cowling and Sherry Hersey, I Am One, and then a wonderful discussion with Kim Conrad, author of Vice Versa Verse. Welcome to the Spirit Spot. I'm Reina-Shay, and it is my hope to help guide you, even if just for a few moments out of your day. I invite you to set aside whatever you have before you, settle into your seat, and we'll begin with 3 conscious breaths. Breathing in through the nose, into the belly, out through the mouth. Relax the belly. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Continue breathing gently and relaxed. Your touchstone today is the oneness of God. And I'll be reading from the Illustrated Book of Sacred Scriptures, edited by Timothy Freak, from a variety of sacred traditions. And the title is The Oneness of God. All religious traditions turn to the language of unity to express the nature of the Supreme Being. Translations often convey very little of the great depth of meaning expressed in the original language by the holy names given to the Supreme Being. Adonai, a biblical name for God, is usually translated Lord. In Hebrew, it suggests the essential unity that divides to give life. Many Jewish and Islamic names for God are based around the root El or Al, which conveys the one or the all. Elohim, the name of God in the Hebrew book of Genesis, could be translated the one that is many, or the being of beings, or the consciousness in all. Allah, the name of God in the Aramaic that Jesus spoke, could be rendered as the one moving through all souls. Allah, the name of God used by Muhammad, combines the roots al and la to express the oneness of being and nothingness. The Hebrew name for God, often transliterated Yahweh or Jehovah, conveys an internal power that manifests in life, and a door between existence and non-existence. From the Baha'i Faith, the gleanings from the writings of Baha'u'llah, there can be no doubt that whatever the peoples of the world, of whatever race or religion, they derive their inspiration from one heavenly source, and are the subjects of one God. The difference between the ordinances under which they abide should be attributed to the varying requirements and exigencies of the age in which they were revealed. All of them, except for a few, which are the outcome of human perversity, were ordained of God and are a reflection of His will and purpose.
From the ancient mystery religions, Heraclitus, the wise is one alone, unwilling and willing, to be spoken of by the name Zeus. From Hinduism, the Rig Veda, truth is one, and the learned call it by many names. From Judaism and Christianity in Deuteronomy, hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. From Islam in the Quran, say, He is God, the One, God, the eternally besought of all. From Shinto, Ryomoto Kyo, there is only one God. All the, quote, gods, unquote, are but his ministering angels, who are his manifestations. From Taoism, the Tao Te Ching, mysteriously existing before heaven and earth, silent and empty, an unchanging oneness, an ever-changing presence, the mother of all life. It is impossible to really give it a name, but I call it Tao. Without wishing to define it, it could be called the whole. From indigenous religions, sword, a Native American Dakota. Every object in the world has a spirit, and that spirit is Wakan. Thus the spirits of the trees or things of that kind, while not like the spirit of man, are also Wakan. Wakan comes from the Wakan beings. These Wakan beings are greater than mankind in the same way that mankind is greater than animals. They are never born and never die. They can do many things that mankind cannot do. Mankind can pray to the Wakan beings for help. The word Wakantanka means all of the Wakan beings, because they are all as if one. And from Buddhism, from Zen master Yungcha Tashi, one perfect nature pervades and circulates within all natures. One all-inclusive reality contains and embraces all realities. One moon is reflected in every expanse of water. Every reflected moon is the one moon. The essence of all the Buddhas is in my being. My essence is in their being. The inner light is beyond good and bad. Like space, it knows no boundaries. It is here right now within us, always full and serene. Only when you hunt for it do you miss it. You can't grasp it, but you can't lose it. It winds its own way. When you are silent, it speaks. When you speak, it is dumb. There are no obstacles. The great gate of love is wide open. Your touchstone for today is the word oneness. I invite you to pause throughout your day for 3 conscious breaths and to reflect on this touchstone. And may you create a great day.
A beautiful song by Sherry Hersey and Rick Cowling. They are a husband and wife music team leaders at Unity of the Oaks in Thousand Oaks, California. Both award-winning, recognized professionals in their own right in the fields of music, television, and film. They co-own Turning on the Light Entertainment, where they produce positive music and media, including the soon-to-be-released uplifting children's movie, Lily's Light. Please subscribe to hear more of their music on their YouTube channel, Turning on the Light Entertainment.
I'm just a spoke in the wheel, one grain of sand, but it feels so right to be right where I am. One little part of a much bigger plan, and the longer I'm here, the more I understand. I am one, we are one, like the rays of the sun, when it's all said and done. I am one, we are one.
I'm just one drop of rain that falls from the sky, that runs to the stream, then the ocean by and by. And I could do worse than to give myself up on the crest of a wave, on this ocean of love.
I am one, we are one, like the rays of the sun, when it's all said and done. I am one, we are one. One gentle touch, one loving word, one single step toward a kinder world. I am one, we are one, like the rays of the sun, when it's all said and done. I am one, we are one. One gentle touch, one loving word, one single step toward a kinder world. I am one, we are one, like the rays of the sun, when it's all said and done. I am one, we are one. I am one, we are one. So it is.
Breathe that in. Oh, I found that just so powerful. I hope you did too. Next up, we have Kim Conrad. Kim Conrad's an award-winning and best-selling author, remarkable intuitive, and has been called a gifted interior designer that guides you to create the life you love to live. Grateful clients have shared, "I feel like I've come home again, and so much more confident, capable, and more joy in my life. Thanks, Kim, for making it easier than I thought it could be." Having rebuilt her body and her life 3 times, guided thousands to a more fulfilling life, combined with her master's in psychology, Reiki, mastership, performance background, and sense of humor. Her coaching, workshops, and presentations are fun and life-enhancing at the same time. She's been called a pioneer of language and her voice a healing medicine. Kim has presented at conferences around the world, including the Global Healing Conference in Bali with Desmond Tutu and the National Peace Alliance Conference in Washington. She's also been known to hit a golf ball backwards. Maybe she'll have time to explain that one to us. Welcome, Kim. I'm so happy to have you here with us today.
Thank you very, very much. And thank you all for being here, and for those that will be viewing when today is over. I welcome you and thank you so much for joining. So today's topic is words. What are you sentencing yourself to? Double meaning meant. I do a lot of wordplay, and I realize that indeed we create our world with our words, and we literally sentence ourselves, each other, and our world every day. So the song, to pull in the beautiful messages from Spirit Spot and the song that Reina-Shay shared, Oneness, in that song, it said one single step to a kinder world. That life is filled with single steps. And when we get stuck, it's often because we're trying to go 5 steps ahead rather than the one that's right in front of us, and know that we will get there. So what I'd like to do to speak to oneness and taking single steps and how our words can support this, I would like to start out. I'll do a few readings today, and we'll also talk. And then if we've got time at the end, I would love to hear what's going on for you, and maybe some of my ideas and thoughts can be of support to you. I'd like to start out with this reading of a verse that I wrote recently called Avalanche, when I was going, with everything going on in the world, what can I say? What can I do? And I'll share that there's a couple word plays in here to support your listening that are much easier visual. I take the word because and make it into 2 words. So it's be cause, being the cause. Okay, and then the other is, in place of cellular, as in a cell in our body, I say soul-ular, S-O-U-L. So you understand what I'm saying and wondering, is that what I really heard? So hopefully that will support this listening. So this is called Avalanche. Do not despair, and I'm going to get my glasses. Okay, here we go. All right.
That helps.
It does. If you don't wear glasses now, as you get older, sometimes that becomes necessary. Okay, helpful. All right. So here we go again. Avalanche. Do not despair when all about you chaos reigns. It is often the avalanche that uncovers lost cities. The whispers of marinating treasures, waiting until it was time to see the light of day again. Uncover your hearts, lay bare your souls, love that which has felt lost, mistreated, or lonely. Let your DNA unravel into kingdoms and queendoms waiting to be born. Tuck yourself into your heart again. It's time. Shine like stars because you are one. Let waters cleanse generations of old stories whose time has come to fall away like petals on a dying rose that gives birth to new seeds. Use your being's universally given truth-seeking voice to be the eye of the storm. Stand and speak out. Resource fully, peacefully, powerfully, poignantly, unceasingly, for injustice. Use laced arrows to pierce false foundations with the accuracy of unified intention. Stand for your fellow man and woman, for all of life and planet. Unite in this calling of the universe. There are cells who came to dissolve the caterpillar, and there are those us, who came to create the butterfly. Imaginal cellular listening that births from beyond all conditioned knowledge to the pages of the book future written, whose time is now. Co-creating this butterfly, destined in its becoming, through action taking imaginal cells marching, our keenly awarenessing, collaborating, resiliencing, integrating, future forward. The stakes are high. Our future here affects the future of the entire solar system we are part of. Silence is not golden unless you're meditating. Use quiet reflection to give clarified voice so knowing is clear, effective, and alignment making for all. Life needs to unravel itself, to reweave itself. We are part of life's reweavers. Uncomfortable though it may be on the edge of creation's brilliance, trust. In the innate intelligence of life itself, internal growth does not happen unless there is a choice to meet the challenge. Greatness is forged through meeting great challenges. Even if you be shaky and doubting, or ready and willing, or both, begin. Make calls, volunteer again, write, learn, stretch, keep going, receive, help others, march, breathe, vote, be kind to you and this world. Have the cellular window cleaner wash clean the windows of your soul. Be cause, because you are designed to, because we are designed to. In this together, we are. I see the perfection in you. Please look in the mirror.
Wow. Such powerful words. You know, while you were reading it, I felt like in my body I could feel you calling forth my cells to attention. That was gorgeous.
Thanks for reaffirming my intention. I really, that's the whole idea. Yeah. Thank you.
And so words are powerful. And that's the whole point of this Literary Arts Hour this week. Can you give us a little more insight to your thinking on how words affect us and the way we experience the world?
Science has now shown that the words we speak, what we feel, emotion, energy and motion, thoughts, what we write, all of that actually becomes the reality, the printout of our world. You know, what the words and the ways we've spoken them actually have been now shown to turn on or turn off different genes in our bodies. And I don't mean J-E-A-N-S, G-E-N-E-S. In fact, the world, this came out when I was talking with Reina-Shay the other day, that the world we have today is a collaborative printout of all the words that have been spoken. And we can actually shift to the matrix of this printout by who we be and what we say and what we do and what we think and what we write and what we, even in a smile, who we be. Because in that, our understanding of even the connections, the way that we share about it as it shows up in words. So we're being asked to change, evolve, and enhance our awareness about the words we choose and how we speak them, both inside and out. So some tips possibly to play and evolve with. You may be familiar with some of them and maybe not. So some invitations to notice how often you say but, and there's usually an energy of but. I call it butitis. But has a way of canceling out, it's in NLP, but cancels out everything that came before it, okay? And what if you use the word and? Play with putting the word and. So instead of but, it's this and that, rather than this but that. Okay, try that. And notice how often, because a lot of us have been programmed this way, that we say, well, I should, or I need to, or I ought to, or I have to. And I call that shoulditis, okay, or you're shoulding on yourself. And instead, I invite you, even if you need to be still for a moment, because it's different, and experience actually choosing. Doesn't mean you have to like it, but I choose, or and I choose. You know what? Oh, there is a place within me where I can touch that I do choose to do this. So I choose rather than should or ought to or need to or whatever. And usually if I'm choosing, then I'm standing more in the power that's always there when I choose to claim it. And I'm usually not as much in resistance, because whoever really has liked doing things you should do? I don't think most of us do. Some other ways, let's see. Just notice when you contract with certain words that you say or somebody else says, and when you expand, similar with but or and or choose. Do you open into it? Do you contract? Bodies are wonderful Geiger counters. And then some opportunities for other perspectives. What if you have a viewing point rather than a point of view? Points of views often have rightness in them. Mine's right, and therefore there has to be wrong. If I have a viewing point, in that statement is also inherent in my way of being with that phrase, that there's a whole bunch of other viewing points all around the circle. So I happen to have this viewing point. And if you're ever feeling stuck about an issue, even set it on the floor and walk around it and go from different viewing points. Because of the way the eyes and the brain and everything relate, you might end up with a different idea than you had before. It's often when we look at only from one perspective, we feel stuck. If we have a lot of different viewing points, we end up, I say humming is great, but take out the you for this purpose, and a lot. Another interesting thing that occurred to me is I looked outside and I realized everything has a shadow when there's light shining on it. And there's a whole bunch of conversation about shadow being your shadow, And so what if we also realized that your shadow always has your back? How could that be a different relationship with your shadow? The other thing is I've watched people pray for peace on earth, and it seemed to me that in that praying or in that asking for, there appeared to me to often be an interpretation that it wasn't here yet. And yet, even in this conversation, and today, I'd say there's peace and unity going on right now. And that for most of the people on this planet, certainly not all, but for much of us, at least at points during the day, we're likely experiencing peace and unity a lot more than we ever thought. And so what if instead of praying for peace on earth, which is as if it's not here, to say thank you for peace on earth, and feel and ask it, see it, to expand to everywhere and everything and everybody with ease and grace on this entire planet and for the planet. The other thing that's coming, as I say this planet, that's been a conscious shift of mine. I realized that I've been brought up to say our planet, and I realized that was possessive. And I think that's a foundational perspective of ownership that could very well be contributing to a lot of the imbalances and even abuse of our planet, depending on your perspective. So I invite us to speak of it as this planet or something else, and to note if you say our, to be open to looking at that.
Can I share something about
Yeah,
what you've been saying?
yeah.
You know, I really loved what you were saying about the body as a Geiger counter, and about too the rightness of things, because years ago when I first learned it was suggested to me to watch my language and think about saying things like and instead of but, or I choose instead of should. And it took me a while to figure out, though, that it wasn't about catching people and using wrong words. Um, in fact, I have a friend who often will say things, and I'll say, well, did you notice that you use this word or whatever? And she seems to take it as a make wrong, that and I always am reminding her that I don't see it as a make wrong. It's simply that our words, like our body, are often an indicator to us of what is happening inside. So I notice that when certain words come out of my mouth, like I have to, that I go, oh, my internal state is in a demand about this thing, at least. So do I want to shift my internal state? Certainly changing the words can sometimes help to do that. But I also go inside and go, okay, if my internal state is not something I'm happy with, can I shift that and then let the words match? And there's an inverse relationship there. Sometimes we change the words and it helps change the internal state, and sometimes we change the internal state and it helps to change the words that we use. But it's not about, forcing yourself to use these different words just for the sake of using different words, but to have those words match the feelings in our body and the internal state that we're moving with into the world.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. I would say that check with your state and with your words, and if it aligns with your calling for that which is greater than, a way of saying it right now is greater than your individual focused life. What is the calling, and what are the words and state that align with that? There is something, because I can understand, I appreciate your example of your friend. What I've done, if indeed I know that this person, we can have a prior agreement, and Christine will probably laugh at this, because we do this quite a bit, is that if indeed we know that this other person would really like to have a greater expression in their life, or this or that or the other thing, and then I could say, I just, I've often used this word too. I just noticed that you did, and I'm adjusting it. Would you like some feedback or insight on that? And if not, that's fine too. And if they go yes, and to be totally okay if it's no, sometimes that can be challenging in its own way too. But then we get to watch our needs. We get to watch all our stuff. So if they go yes, okay, I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. If I may, an invitation is this, and then you do with it what you like. You happen to say this, and I've been finding that when I do this instead, or this, that I actually feel more open. I end up with greater positive results. How does that sound to you? And so if we can take away a potential obstacle,
Right.
then it's very interesting. And I've certainly been in that situation too. So what I'd like to do in looking at our time is that there is a verse that I will not choose to read today called Being For, F-O-R. I'm in the midst of creating a video for it. It's something that I performed at the Peace Alliance Conference in Washington. Quite a powerful statement. And if you'd like to, I'll just throw this in here, that if you'd like to stay in touch or I'm offering a free 20-minute consultation if you'd like. It's kind of early, but late in the game here, to look at what's going on and how to support you in the evolution where you want to go. But if you want to, at kimconrad.com, you can sign up for my newsletter. If you go to facebook.com/Kim Conrad Visionary, I do a Facebook Live every Wednesday, and I will announce, like and follow that page, and I will announce that video. I was going to attempt to get it out this weekend for United Nations Day of Peace, but that's not gonna happen. So I will mention that is happening. Let's see. Actually, on that note of unity, you were talking about Friday, which you opened with, Reina-Shay, and that I'll be doing a reading from Clarissa Pinkola Estes called "You Were Made for These Times." And in that note today, to emphasize it with this information, and again, it's a paraphrase. All of us come from a womb, a physical womb, a human womb, or we wouldn't be born and sitting here looking at each other around the world, okay? And then there's the womb of the universe. And all of us successfully navigated what is going on in the womb, okay? And there are 4 crises in the womb. The third crisis is where the heart starts out above the head and comes down and the body wraps around it. We've been asked to come from our hearts more and more and more. In fact, we now know, it's scientifically documented, that our hearts are 5,000 times magnetically stronger than our brains. Both are of value, and yet this is our sun. So that's crisis number 3, and we've all navigated that successfully. Crisis 4 is in most cases where the fetus turns upside down. The baby turns completely upside down. All cells of the body turn upside down. And a lot of things we can talk about in terms of what we've been conditioned to learn, worldviews, and even all the stuff going on. Can feel like a lot of things are turning upside down. And I can only imagine what a caterpillar feels like when it becomes a butterfly. Everything looks like it's becoming mush. Well, it is. So that we can listen. So the main point of this is, once the baby comes out, it stands back up again, right? Is that we have all navigated this successfully. So when we listen to the cells of our body in the midst of this and being the eye of the storm, we've already done it. We've already been successful on a smaller scale. So when we listen, we know what to do. And it's a matter of then being and doing and following through. A quote of mine that I'd love to share, and then I want to read All for One and One for All, which will take maybe 2 minutes. And then if somebody has a question or whatever, Reina-Shay, you'll take it from there. The quote came at the end of quite a life-changing situation for me. That I realized that being brave enough to be ourselves, we become someone else's unintended hero. And in so doing, we become our own.
Nice.
And with that, wordplay intended, I'll share this short little thing, and then we'll figure out where we go from there. It's called All for One and One for All. Take on the 3 Musketeers. So all for one and one for all. We, the people of these United States of being, now join together and pledge our heart's allegiance to the ascension of all creation to heaven on earth. Fully empowered, we now lovingly and compassionately embrace all things as part of this new harmonic convergence, uniting, designing, and consciously co-creating one unified universe for all, actively living whole and complete perceptions through intentional connection. We are cells of the world, uniting, designing, and consciously co-creating as all for one, and one for all.
Mm. Very nice.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Just breathe on that. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing your poetry. I'm gonna have to get my hands on a copy of your book, Vice Versa Verse.
Thank you. In that regard, very quickly, if you go to kimconrad.com, it's there. And if you order it through there and you're in the continental United States, then I will do a personal signing. We'll arrange for me to do a personal signing with your own personal message. If you're outside the United States, then I invite you to buy it from Amazon.
Ah.
They have inventory for outside the US, and it is an ebook if you like that. So thank you.
Great. Well, I liked your suggestion. I would like to open it up to our audience. If anyone would like to comment on the poems or ask a question of Kim, if you're not already muted, you can raise your hand, wave at me. Suzanne.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, because Kim, you've been talking about words today, and I'm very interested in words and their effects. And I just want to throw out maybe a word you can ponder on and get back with me on one of your table talks, and that's the word try. When I hear someone say, "Oh, I'm going to try to do that," I think to myself, well, that's never going to happen. And, you know, I think the word try is supposed to mean that you're actually going to put some effort into it. But over time, I feel like it's changed in meaning and it doesn't seem to have any relevance. Anyway,
Well,
that's just what I was...
No, that was in my list and I had to cut some things out. I had to trim. But if you have a pen on your desk and you try to pick it up, do you ever really do it? So, you know.
Always.
I know, then you actually picked it up. What is it? Yoda said, do or do not do. There is no try. So yes, I'll be happy to talk about that on one of my Facebook Lives on Wednesday, 10 a.m. Mountain.
Yeah, maybe there's another word to would be better than try.
Okay, got it. Hi, Raphael.
I like to use the word intend sometimes. Just like Kim's been talking about, it helps to shift our the feeling behind the word, to say, you know, instead of saying I will try to be there, I'll say, okay, it is my intention to be there. I intend.
Yeah, you take responsibility for actually doing something.
Yeah, or you choose to, you know what, I'm really not sure at this point, and it's be okay to say that. And I'm really going to do my best, and I will let you know before the day or something.
Mm-hmm.
Or I choose to, or I don't. I'm not able to. I'd love to be there, and I'm not able to. Yeah.
Well, and isn't that about getting honest with ourselves sometimes? Because, and then I know in the past, I want to be at 3 different things that it just so happens they are occurring at the same time. And I want to be there, but sometimes it's just not feasible. And that takes some willingness to be honest and authentic with ourselves and with the people we're in relationship with.
Yep, it strengthens the relationship. I think we've got time for one more question, maybe 2, depending on how short. Or anybody want to ask something?
Kim, this is Noelle.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
I put in some
You're very black and white today.
Either or. I put in the chat to you, what about the word hope?
Okay. So, I'm going to respond where part of me would initially want to go, what is it for you? But we don't have the time to do that. In my experience of hope, I would invite you to look at how are you with that word. A lot of people I've watched go to, well, I hope it happens, and it's way at the top of their head. And I hope, which then usually is not really being involved and connected with getting it done, and being involved and connected with making and having it happen and receiving it happening. There's making, having, receiving, all kinds of pieces, parts. So it really depends on, now if I say, well, I hope that happens, well, I hope it happens. And there's usually a difference in pitch too between how people say things, but I hope it happens. And my energy is going into who do I be and what do I do to make it happen. That's a different ballgame than I hope. There's also, I mean, it's been used in politics of hope. And it just depends on how unifying and how action oriented. For me, the word overall, though, is not as grounded and actuating as some other choices could be. Yeah. Is that a value?
Yes,
Noelle?
yes, it is very much. Thank you, Kim.
You're welcome. Anybody else, even if you're brand new?
Well, yes. What about the word
checking.
peace and unity?
When we use peace, words like that, like peace and unity, I really invite to look at whether the word is coming from up in your head or you really are experiencing it when you express it. So are you being, are you choosing, are you discovering, are you unveiling, are you unfolding peace and unity when you use those words? That many words can become like words that we just kind of use and we're not really connected with them. That really this enhancement, this connection, this choice, this manifesting, even this whole conference, that when we speak of peace and unity, that we're really living embodiments of peace and unity. Does that help?
Yes, and thank you for bringing it back to our overarching theme of peace and unity. We are here all week with the Literary Arts Hour at the Up Convergence with a theme of Up, Unity, and Peace. And this has just been beautiful discussion of words and their power to help us create the unity and peace that we want in ourselves, in our lives, and in the world. So thank you so much for being with us, Kim Conrad, author of Vice Versa Verse.
Let's give Reina-Shay, Kim, and everybody who participated. Wow. Another beautiful day. Love the music and your spirit spot. The spirit spot is something that Reina-Shay just started. I think you're in about close to 60 of those that you've
63.
done. They're on 63. Okay. See, I was trying to
Well, no,
you there.
53, not 63.
53. Okay. So, Reina-Shay, how would someone watch the spirit spots? Your
Oh,
previous
thank you
ones?
for asking. Most people have a podcast app already installed on their smartphone. So if you open that and go to the little magnifying glass, which is a search icon, and just put in there the spirit spot, then it will come up. You'll see the big blue mandala behind me in my picture, and it says the spirit spot with Reina-Shay Broussard. But if you don't podcast, it's also available every week on my YouTube channel, which is The Reina-Shay. So that's TheReinaShay. All together is like one word, The Reina-Shay. And if you go to your YouTube, you can put that in the search bar as well, and it will come up.
Awesome. Thank you, Reina-Shay. And they're very beautiful. Not too long, keeps my attention, but go very deep. So thank you, Reina-Shay.